Mindset is our way of thinking, the lens through which we see life. Mindset is what drives us every other day. Mindset is behind how we behave in our relationships, how we take up responsibilities, how we view opportunities, how we show up at work. If you don't train your mindset,
Yes.
the world will do it for you. Unfortunately, the world will not do it towards your purpose. We feel like we are too busy to prioritize us. Until we get uncomfortable with where we are not going to create any change.
So when we are talking of transforming our mindset so that we achieve the well-being, maybe we can start with defining what is mindset and if there are different types of mindsets.
Okay.
Yes.
So mindset is our way of thinking. You know, that habitual way of thinking. We can also define it as the lens through which we see life. It's the lens through which we see the world, how we see other people, how we see ourselves, how we see possibilities in life, and different things. So when you talk of types of mindset, there is the growth mindset and the fixed mindset.
Okay.
Of course, there can be other categories, but the growth and the fixed are the common ones.
Okay.
And so the growth mindset is the one that sees possibilities for change. The growth mindset, if you have a growth mindset, you think, I can do this. It's possible to change. You know, whatever I'm facing is possibility. Growth mindset also embraces challenges and actually sees challenges as an opportunity for growth. A fixed mindset is the one that feels like there's no opportunity for change. Someone with a fixed mindset will be like, I'm just like this. This is who I am. This is how things are. You've heard people say, "Mi nakuanga tu hivyo," you know? Yeah, so that is a fixed
Niko
mindset.
tu.
Yeah, niko tu. Ama hiyo iko tu hivyo. There is nothing we can do about it. That's a fixed mindset. Sees things as if they are just fixed. There is nothing you can do about. A fixed mindset also avoids challenges and sees them as obstacles and problems, not as opportunities for growth. So you see, Jephrice, mindset is what drives us every other day. Mindset is behind how we behave in our relationships, how we take up responsibilities, how we view opportunities, how we show up at work, and everything. So how we see things, you see that lens through which we see things. That's like the silent driver behind us. So we can be in the same situation, but see things very differently.
Yeah.
So let me also say this, mindset is developed as we grow up. Sometimes as young children, you know, when, for example, you keep telling your child, I don't have money, I don't have money. Or does money grow on trees? You think money grows on trees. Or, you know, that is too expensive for us. That child is going to have a scarcity mindset when it comes to money and start thinking that I'm not worthy of money. Money is impossible for me. Things like cultural things that we are told. Like for us women don't do that. Women don't do this, you know, and we take that, and if we are not careful, we don't push ourselves beyond that. The things that we hear every other day, and even what we tell ourselves, the narratives in our heads, you know, that story we keep telling ourselves. But the good news is mindset can be changed. Mindset can be programmed. It's not a fixed thing. It's not like you are born with a certain form of mindset. and so that there's nothing you can do about. And so this topic is very timely because then our viewer will be able to know this is my mindset, and then what can I do about it?
Yes.
Is it something that is empowering me, or is it something that puts me down? Yeah.
Wow. Now, when we say mindset training, exactly what is it?
So mindset training is that intentional rewiring of our thoughts, our belief systems, our inner programming. You know, Jephrice, everything we see in the outer world of anyone is a reflection of what is happening within us. So when you see someone having a certain financial pattern, it's because of the mindset that they live in. If you see somebody, like even our aging, there are people who get to 60 and they think they are very old.
Yeah.
And the moment you start thinking you're old, your brain is informing your cells of how to behave. So your skin will obey and begin sagging immediately. And so it is that intentional rewiring of our thought systems, our belief systems, our emotional patterns, so that we change from the old mindset that is maybe not working for us, and we embrace a new mindset that is powering us to become who we want to become, and to shape ourselves into to be able also to achieve what we want to achieve, because maybe you want to achieve so much, but you can't because of that mindset. And so it's something that doesn't happen, you know, instantly. It's something that has to be intentional. Intentional is a key word, because then you have to be aware that this is my mindset and I need to work on it. So you begin by identifying your limiting beliefs that may be keeping you stuck. You also look at the patterns in your life that may have kept you stuck, and how you think, the self-talk, you know, the negative self-talk that you may have. Is your self-talk powering you? Is it disempowering you? For example, if in your mindset you're thinking, I'm not beautiful, and so all you do is like, I'm not beautiful, it's going towards that direction. So you begin to think, how can I rewire this so that I see myself differently? If it's in a relationship, you have a certain set of thoughts towards your significant other or people around you, then you begin to think differently. Like you can have these boss that you feel, this one is too mean, difficult to work with this person. But then you begin to think, how can I change myself so that I am able to work with this person? Because for now, I don't have any other choice. Now, Jephrice, if you don't change, or what is the word you used? The training.
Training,
Yeah,
yes.
if you don't train your mindset,
Yes.
the world will do it for you. Unfortunately, the world will not do it towards your purpose, but it will just do it towards a certain area that you're in, anything. So that intentionality can actually work for you. So it's very important to be conscious about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I've picked something in your statement. That means our mindset is wired.
Yeah.
So you can
yeah.
rewire it to become what you want.
Yeah, you see, in the days of old, scientists believe that the way your brain is, that's how it remains. But now with research, the brain has been seen to have this ability to, just like any other muscle. You see, the way you go to the gym is the same way you begin training your brain. So your brain is like a muscle. So if I want, for example, if I have a sagging arm and I go to the gym and start training it, with time, it will align.
Yeah.
Now that's the same way we do with our brains. So there can be, for example, you have a mindset of complaining, you start practicing gratitude. You have a mindset which you are not thoughtful about anything, you start thinking of how can I practice more mindfulness in my life. Something like you have these sort of thoughts that show you that nothing is possible.
Yeah.
So you begin to affirm things like affirmations, affirming that this is. So your mindset has been developed by things you have either had continuously. So the how to retrain it now is to again give it another set of learning things that you can. So if today I start telling you every day, Jephrice, you are full. Jephrice, you are full. Every day, I promise you, within no time, you will start seeing yourself as a fool. But if you feel like you are full, then I start affirming you and telling you, Jephrice, you're such an amazing person. I like your thought patterns. I like this about you. You start seeing it like that. And then your brain now rewires and takes up the new pattern, and you begin to see yourself in the new light. Yeah.
In the sense of the same, I want you to tell our audience, when we talk of transformation, now what is transformation?
Transformation is that change, is that significant change that happens in our lives. You know, where you get to this point that you have now realized that this is the direction I've been taking, and now I'm going to change into this new direction. And so a lot changes within us, you know, how we think, our thought patterns, our emotional patterns, our belief systems, that now changes. We now shed off the old beliefs that we had and embrace new beliefs. We shed off old emotional patterns, we embrace new ones. And so it's also intentional, because transformation doesn't just happen. It is something you work on, so that you after that awareness, now you begin to think, how can I transform from this mindset to this new mindset? Transformation helps you to drop your old beliefs and embrace that highest version of yourself. And it's not like that highest version of yourself has not been there. It's just been covered in so much. Maybe in stress, maybe in things you've been told. Maybe a woman has been in this toxic marriage, and she has lost her self-esteem and everything, and so she has lost the belief that she can even do anything. Now transformation empowers her to see herself and situations in a different way. Transformation is when you stop thinking, what can I do? And begin to think, who do I want to become?
Okay.
Because as we said, your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So when I'm coaching, my approach is always the inside out transformation. It would be unfair for me to get you and start telling you, this is how you transform your money, your money situation. And then I start pumping, information. Yet I have not looked at what you have inside as beliefs. So it's when we change those beliefs, the limiting beliefs that you may have about money, that now we can because even if I start telling you that you can do this and that to transform a certain area of your life, yet inside you believe it's impossible. Nothing will change.
True.
So you you have to get to that point where where you transform. And Jephrice, your mindset can either be your prison or your passport. Your prison to keep you stuck forever, or your passport to lead you into the path you want to go. So like for me, for a long time, I believed that there are things I cannot do. I believed that I was this person who was not even needed in the society. So my transformation made me to see myself in a different light. I never believed that I could have some kinds of things. Now transformation made me believe that I can I can do it. Let me give you an example. One time we are in this coaching session, and we did something called visualization. Visualization is actually one powerful tool of transforming your mindset. And so my coach begins talking about the possibility of owning a beautiful, expensive car. And then she said that her car, I can't remember the make, but I remember it was a 27 million worth car.
Ukashtuka.
No, Jephrice, I didn't just get like hiyo kushtuka. I left. I left the session.
Why?
I couldn't take it. 27 million was unimaginable for me. It was too much.
Too much.
How can Abby own a 27 million car? What are
Aji.
these coaches talking about? Are they sick? I started crying actually, and I left. And this is something I'm doing as a grown-up, not as a child.
Yeah.
Because all through my life, I had been wired to believe that contentment is not allowing yourself to have so much.
Yeah.
I had been wired to believe that money is for some limited few, not me.
Yeah.
So there is no day I had ever put myself in that group of people who have that possibility. So luckily for me, I had started a personalized journey with this coach. So the following day I told her, by the way, I left that session. And she asked me why. So we started going through it. And then that's when I discovered it is something that roots in my childhood. And so I needed to start working on it. I needed to start doing things. So she gave me tools, affirmations, gratitudes, visualizations, and other things that now enabled me to now get to the point where I saw them as possibilities.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now, you've just talked of something. Does it mean how we are shaped from chini, it's going to affect our mindset? Because Abby, you just meet someone who believes in nothing. And when you believe in something, they see you like awkward, like ni kama uko in a very misplaced place. I find myself in such scenarios in so many ways. Paka unakaa hivi unajiuliza, is it that I'm too ambitious? Am I'm thinking beyond my brain itself? Is it because we are wired differently kutoka chini?
Yeah.
Maybe you can take us through that.
It's true, because a child that is born in a place where all he or she saw was lack is likely to believe that that is how the world is and get a fixed mindset on that. And so, and this child who was born in a wealthy environment is again, because there are people, have you heard of conversations where I saw one where somebody said that she spends 75,000 on herself per month, and people are rattling, they were mad.
It depends with where we come from.
And she was wondering, and for her she's surprised that you can spend 5,000.
Yeah.
Another person is surprised that you can spend 2,000.
Imagine.
So from the age of 0 to 7, that's where most of our mindset patterns are formed. That's where our brains are forming. So we are picking. When we look at our parents, we are picking, this is how marriage works. We are looking at money, we are picking, this is how money works. When we are looking at teachers, so that's why it's very important to be cautious on how we bring up our children at the base, the foundational years. But again, as we said, all is not lost. Whichever mindset pattern you have, it can be transformed, it can be retrained, it can be rewired.
Okay. Now, I want us to take a break. But when we come back, I want you to address the different areas we live in.
True.
Can these areas shape us? For example, let us not go back to the rural. Rural, there is all culture and different beliefs. Let us not dwell on the beliefs, but we can also bring it in the belief kidogo and our cultures. But I want you to base on now where we come from, uku urban. The kind of areas we live in, kuna slum, kuna middle class, and now the upper class. I have a challenge na watu wanaishi kwa slum. Mtu anakuona hivi anaona kama huyu ni wa dunia ingine. So ama wewe unaenda kuishi in that area, unajiona kama uko very very much lost. So when we come back, I want you to address the areas we live in and the kind of mindset zinatuachia.
Welcome to Abby's Holistic Wellness Hub office. This is Apostle Gideon who paid us a visit. We are located at D&D House, West Road, Nakuru, opposite Kenjap Motors. Such a peaceful and serene environment. You will love it. We took a lift to 6th floor where my office is located. So for anyone who prefers in-person coaching, this is for you. We had a little meet and greet, and then we settled in my office for a little session. He updated me on his progress in the 90-day habit hacking journey, which he is a part of. This is our boardroom space where we do trainings, group coaching, and meetings. You will not leave this space the same. You're welcome.
Welcome back to Faraja Swift Chat. A while ago, before we went for a commercial break, our life coach was ready to handle where the areas we live in, the kind of estates we live in, especially in urban area. Ushago tumesema their beliefs and cultures, those can limit us kidogo depending on where we come from. Here in the urban settlement, there are areas you settle in and you find you don't fit. Shida ni mindset. Kuna mtu atakuangalia aone ni kama huyu anakaa wa baba, because you're trying to chase money. You see? You're trying to improve yourself. So instead ya wakuone kama a fellow woman, they'll see you like, I'm fan of a man. Why are you chasing money? Why do you want all this richness? But all we wake up to be better. Kindly address our settlement areas.
Yeah, so our environment shapes our mindset. That's true. And so even when I'm working with people on transformational journeys, one of the things we handle is your environment. It could be where you live, where you work, or any other place you frequent. And so you could be in this neighborhood that women believe all we do is housework, and so we can do nothing else. And so as you say, when you appear different, they find you to be interesting. Have you heard of people who, once you get a car, they call you Illuminati or they call you a devil worshipper? So because they cannot associate the improvement, self-improvement in life with anything good. To them, their mindset tells them that it has to be associated with that, either devil worship or Illuminati. And so you hear people being branded. You see, and now that's where the children in that place become disadvantaged. Because then if it's a girl, how is the mother shaping her for life? Let me give you an example. Oprah Winfrey, and we all love her and see what she's done. She's a voice to be reckoned with. She says that being a black African girl, black American girl, African American, her grandma used to tell her, I pray that when you grow up, you get a good white employer so that you work for them, because that's what the grandma used to do. And she says she wishes that the grandma would be alive to see that she no longer, she doesn't work for the good white employers. She actually employs them
herself, and
she has done very well in life. But you see, that's how she came out. Now the good news is that we are not limited to those areas of settlement. Once you become aware, because the problem is most of these people are held in that mindset, they are stuck in that mindset because they are not aware. They don't even know something is wrong about it. That is who they are. You know, just like me who didn't think I could afford or even I was worth a 27 million worth car. That's the same way they are. You see, it has taken me a journey to believe that I'm worthy great things. Whenever my husband, for example, would talk about us owning a home, I would think that is not for us. When will that ever happen? There is a time I never even believed that having even a Vitz or a small car is a possibility. Because that is how I grew up. So we talked about intentionality. And so if you are in that setup where you're surrounded by people with limited mentality, you are at work, and all that surrounds you is limitation, you have to stand out. You have to now be there and not there at the same time. Someone also said that he worked in this organization for a businessman. Now this businessman was offering them training sessions on Saturday mornings. So he used to say, if you want a training with me, come at 7 a.m. So this gentleman got a job in this company. So he's new, he doesn't know the company behavior. So the first Saturday, he shows up. Guess what? He shows up alone. And so he's trained, and he likes what the owner of the business is training him about. And the following day, he asks his colleagues, why didn't you come? And what one replied was, I'm not paid to come early.
Whoa.
And for him, what he had is, he's saying, I'm not paid to get education. I have been in organization where I've worked. Organizations hire very expensive trainers, people to come and train employees on how to sell, how to, do PR, how to do different things. And then I would hear employees right there in the training say, huyu mtu anatuambia nini? Hizi vitu anatuambia hata haziwezi tusaidia. Now, right now, so for me, I used to take it so positively. I have always loved learning. And so when I would hear of this is how you receive a call, I would want to do it that way. This is how you are, because like in one organization I worked, one of the mindsets was, you being a senior person in the company, and then somebody is asked something by a visitor. And then this person says, hawako, wakubwa hawako. And so in this particular training, we were trained to know that wherever you are everything in that company. You represent the company. So there is no wakubwa. Whether you are the sweeper, whether you are the cleaner, whoever you are, you represent the company in full force. But I would hear people still say that. But right now, I find that those trainings, because I picked them then and they helped me, I find them helping me now when I'm doing my own work. So the question is, what are you missing out on the opportunities that you have around you? Because you are held in the mindset, the scarcity mindset of thinking, I don't have. How can you transform that to seeing the little that you have and transforming it to bring you greatness? So back to the living environment. We have to understand, let me address mothers, for example. We can't bring up our children to be like we are. We have to empower them to be better. Fathers, do not forget your boy child, because now emphasis has been given to the girl child. The boy child is being left behind. So we need now to balance. fathers, mothers, whoever is available to train, let's train our children to show them what the world is like, the possibilities that stand before them, and how they can embrace them. Let's shape their mindset. That's a great gift you can give to your child when he or she is young, instead of just leaving them, so that they, you know, as we said, if you don't train your mind, your mindset, the world will do it for you. Asiyefunzwa na mamaye, atafunzwa na ulimwengu. Why should we, you know, subject our children to that? And why should we even subject ourselves to that? Yeah.
Now, I want us to look at the frameworks for mindset training that we can use to incorporate in our lives, at least to see a change.
Yeah.
Because the major issue here is at least to see a change. Don't get stuck in your own mindset, and now you feel now the world just revolves where you are. You see?
Yeah.
So I want us to tackle these frameworks for mindset training that can be incorporated in one's life, at least to see change, or to see a slight change, ama a bigger change, because the goal is change, right?
Yeah.
So I want us to tackle self-awareness, cultivating self-awareness. How are we going to say that we are aware of ourselves and to change, it help us to change our mindset?
We have said again and again in this show that awareness is the beginning of change. And today I will say awareness is the beginning of any transformation. Because I have to be aware that I'm operating in self-doubt for me to start cultivating self-trust. I have to be aware that I'm, you know, operating in unforgiveness for me to start working on forgiveness. I have to be aware that, like now, that visualization made me aware of my limited mindset on money. So awareness is the beginning point. And that will come by us exposing ourselves. For example, somebody who leaves this show today, after watching today, will be in a better place, because maybe this is the first time you're hearing that, and it will be a different thing. So being aware, and that would take us going back to the word intentional, asking yourself, where am I in life right now? Is this all there can be in my life? And what can I do about it? So when we begin to do that, we begin to use things like journaling, where you write down and ask yourself constructive, deep questions. When you do self-introspection, which is what we do, a guided self-introspection on clients. When I'm coaching clients, of course, I lead them on that way. So that now you get to this point of understanding, I need to get out of here, because a lot of transformation begins from being uncomfortable. Uncomfortable with where we are. Until we get uncomfortable with where we are not going to create any change. So we have to get to a point where we start telling ourselves, I don't like being here. But then not in a negative way of putting ourselves down, but in an empowered way of realizing and taking a step and doing something about it.
And then there is self-care. How do I practice self-care? That it can help me see that change in me.
For a long time, I believed self-care is selfish. And even when the subject self-care came on social media, you would see everybody say self-care, self-care. But then again, they were not putting it in the right way. Self-care was always external, doing my nails, doing my hair, good, how I look, you know, going to the spa, going
having the expensive clip,
on your hair.
Yes,
but that's just a part of self-care. Self-care is again taking care of our inner being. Remember, we have said our outer life are a reflection of our inner being. So we have to take care of this inner being. And that will now, coming from the point of awareness, realizing that I need to take care of myself. And that's where we spare time for ourselves. The other day I was with ladies and I asked them, do you spare time in a day, in 24 hours, how many minutes or hours do you allocate for Jephrice? Do you just wake up, the blanket, maybe mama, a little prayer, God, thank you for the day, bye. And yeah, because
tupatane jioni nikirudi kulala and then I'll mama again.
It's just a thing that we in fact jioni unasema amen asubuhi because you are too tired, you dozed off. And so we have to be intentional. Like personally, what I do is I will wake up at least an hour earlier than my time of leaving the house or beginning my preparation. And in that hour, I'll practice things like breath work, breathing in and out intentionally, like taking like 2 minutes of breathing in and out. And last week, I introduced that to a client who wrote me a text saying, I didn't know breathing was that powerful. Just breathing. I never even thought about breathing. Practicing gratitude. You know, where you intentionally practice gratitude. If you are a constant complainer, that was me. You now begin to think of things you're grateful for. Meditation, another powerful tool. Visualization, prayer, reading. It could be reading your Bible. It could be reading a self-development book. That way you're taking care of your internal. And so when I wake up that early, people ask me, mbona unajinyima usingizi? But Jephrice, I get a lot of power from that 1 hour, 1.5 hours in the morning. Take care of your physical, you know, your body. The moment I hit that gym in the morning, I feel like today I had this crazy workout. I almost cried. But when I live there, I feel like if I was able to tackle that, I can tackle anything. So you feel good about yourself. So giving yourself that time, whether you're a man, whether you are a woman, take care of yourself. Put yourself in that position where you are the number one project in your life. Give yourself some time in your 24 hours and just say, this time is for me, even if it's just sitting quietly and just enjoying yourself time. Even if it's having a cup of coffee just by yourself, it's powerful.
But someone who has a very busy schedule, because one will say, talking about it is so simple, but implementing is the problem. I know we have other frameworks we can use still. We will talk about them later. But now I want us first to see the possibility. Because someone will be watching and they'll say, talking about it kwa mdomo is easier. Now let's talk the implementation part. How do I start? Because I've never done it. Now I really want to start, but you find I really wake up, I want to concentrate on myself. Maybe I'm a mother, katoto kashakuja. Maji nikale uwezi, mwambia toka na ukali, so you embrace the child. Asha distract. Or maybe you really want to start, but ile usingizi yako yenye unapenda haiwezi kukuachilia. Kindly talk to us about the implementation. How do I start?
Remember again our keyword, intentional. This very busy person, ask yourself, are you busy with an I or busy with a Y? Busyness, is it busyness or busyness? Like why? Being very busy. And I tend to see that even in our very busy schedules, we tend to create time for other people's emergencies. Like you can be very busy here and then somebody calls you and tells you, Jephrice, there's this emergency. You find time for it and you go. I have mentioned my habit hacking journey, the 90-day habit hacking journey that I've been doing. It's been going on well. We are on day 50.
Wow.
55 today.
Wow.
And when people came in, they were telling me, how can we do that? How can we create time for ourselves? And it's just you thinking that I really need this, it's for me. you know, the same place you find time for your child, you can find time for yourself. So I see now the difference between now and when I was working for a company. When I was working for a company, I would sacrifice to wake up as early as possible for me to make it
To the
to the place at 8 a.m. Now I reached a point where I realized I'm not making the same time for myself. And so I told a friend of mine, the reason I wake up early, I tell myself the same way I gave time to my employer with dedication, I want to give myself that time. And Jephrice, if that personal development time is where I get my power to become who I need to become, to create the success I need to create, then I will create time for it.
Wow.
Because it doesn't have to be 2 hours. It doesn't have to be 1 hour. It can even be 10 minutes. It can be 10 different minutes stretched in a day. Like in the morning, I can do a 10-minute meditation. At 10 a.m., I can schedule to do affirmations. And then at lunchtime, I can schedule to do something else. So it's just that being intentional. The moment you are, you find the time. Time is actually there. We just need to create it and prioritize ourselves. The problem is we feel like we are too busy to prioritize us.
Okay.
Yet, when anyone else comes in, when I took my transformational journey, my baby was 2 months old.
Wow.
So sometimes he would cry, and I would hold the baby and journal my gratitudes.
Wow.
I would hold my baby and you know, think about something, maybe an assignment I've been given. I would, of course, again make sure I'm giving attention to the baby. But I didn't want to make that an excuse because I had reached that point that I was tired. So we have to get to a point where we are tired of living the kawaida and want to create something bigger. The moment we get there, we will have the time.
Now I want us to break it down to our viewer that this thing, do you really need a life coach to work with you? There are things you can choose to do as an individual?
Yes and no. Because for me, for example, I was not able to do them myself. So working with a life coach helped me.
Okay.
Because just like you, I was asking, how? So I have had conversations with women who tell me, Abby, I just don't find time for myself. There is, in February, March, I was doing the authenticity challenge, where I was just challenging people to revisit their authentic selves. And I remember ladies asking me, I don't have time. I don't even find time to read those texts and Facebook posts that you do. And so we would sit down because sometimes we are just prioritizing the wrong things.
Yeah.
What we need is actually not time management. It's priority management. So I would talk, for example, to a lady who would tell me that I am in the kitchen, I am doing laundry, I am attending to my babies, I'm taking my baby to school. Where will I get time for this? And so for one particular one, I asked, so do you have help? Like, can your spouse help? Do you have a house help? And then he said yes. And then I asked, why are you not delegating some of these duties for you to find help? So from that, she was able to find time, and now she's practicing her own self-care. She's telling me she goes to the gym and does other things. So that intentionality is what will help. So there are other things like that we can, other frameworks like you call them, being mindful, being present. That is being present, you know, working on being very present. That will help us to cultivate, you know, our mindset and have a better mindset. Things like journaling, where you you write down you write down your thoughts, you write down your feelings. That's also very important. Intentional breath work, where you just sit down, breathe in, breathe out. We talked about self-awareness, so being aware. We talked about, no, we haven't talked about this, but anything that makes you come back to yourself, it's very important, because Jephrice transformation doesn't create a new you. It just takes you to the Jephrice that you were before the world taught you different things. Before the world taught you this is who you are to become, you go back to that Jephrice and maybe even improve on that Jephrice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Before we cut or we end the episode, there are 2 terms you've used. I want you to narrow them down for the sake of someone who'd want to practice what we are saying. Journaling, tell them what journaling is, and then writing gratitudes. Tell us what gratitudes are.
Yeah.
So that when they are journaling, and they are journaling the gratitudes which are positive. So tell us what gratitude is and what journaling is.
So journaling is you writing down your feelings, your thoughts, instead of, talking about them, because that's what we do and it disempowers us.
Okay.
It's like you're talking to paper.
Okay.
So it just helps you to empty your mind on paper. Gratitude is either saying loud what you're grateful for, which makes your mind be wired to focus on what you're grateful for, or writing down. Personally, I recommend writing down. Like when I wake up every morning and write 10 things I'm grateful for, and just say thank you for this. What is the other thing that you said? There was a third thing. They were the 2.
They were the 2.
Yeah, and I also add writing affirmations. Affirmations is where, like, one of the other things is reframing your self-talk and your thoughts. So if you're thinking, I'm poor, you start affirming, I am wealthy. If you're thinking, I'm not beautiful, you start affirming, I am beautiful. If you're thinking, I'm not a good mother, you start saying, I'm a great mother. Actually, the best. Yeah. So that when you do these and other things, they just help you to move from that victim position to a powerful position.
Please, our viewer, you've heard for yourself, and we have all internalized what the coach has said. And at this juncture, I want to tell our life coach to give you the social handles where they can find you and your phone number. For whoever will want to walk this journey with you, kindly give them your handles where they can reach you out.
Thank you, Jephrice. Yes. So to reach me on YouTube, it's Coach Blessed Abby. TikTok, Wellness with Abby. On Facebook, it's either Abby's Holistic Wellness Hub or Blessed Abby. And my phone number, 0781 248 284. Either of those channels, you'll get me, and we will talk and work through your transformational journey together.
Yes, I take this opportunity to thank you for gracing this episode.
Thank you.
I'm sure I've learned a lot.
Thank you.
And I know our viewer has also learned. And from us today, let us say bye-bye to our client. Sorry, for our viewer, and we shall meet in the next episode.
You're already calling them clients.
Clients. Wow, goodbye. We meet in the next episode.